Laugh now, cry later. I'm more like, cry now, cry later. That is a line from the remake of The Crow, a film that is just an absolute cringe fest. Let's get into it. Where do I even start with this movie? To begin with, I guess I saw this movie on a discount. I never would have seen this movie if tickets weren't $5 over the weekend. I saw a bunch of movies because I was like, why the hell not? It's $5. You can't really go wrong there. Well, apparently you can. I spent $5 on this movie and I want my money back because The Crow was a waste of time with absolutely nothing worthy of enjoying, anything that felt like it redeemed it all that much. It is just some wannabe emo trash that isn't worthy of anyone's time. I feel like there's something actually really insulting about this movie because the original Crow was the film where Brandon Lee unfortunately lost his life on set due to a gun actually being loaded on set and it firing away at him. This needed to be a lot more respectful, a lot more high quality, and actually add something new, different, and exciting to the Crow mythology because this is a film, well, at least this last one in the 90s or whatever, was a film that people really enjoyed. It has a large cult following, and it would have been nice if this one could have done something similar, enticing a lot of those old fans to come back and get really excited about The Crow again, and enticing new fans into this. You have some clear talent in this movie, like Bill Skarsgård, who has turned out a billion great performances before, and he is so terrible in this movie that I have nothing to blame really except the writing, because we know that Bill Skarsgård is talented and is able to deliver a fantastic performance. But what he gives here is shockingly bad, almost Razzie deserving. It is abysmal on every single level. It is just slop that he is delivering. And I do really think that is because of the writing, because these lines cannot be redeemed. FKA Twigs, who is the love interest here, is just as bad, if not worse, in this movie. There is a love angle within the first 30 or so minutes of this film, and these two have absolutely no chemistry. I'm not sold on their romance at all, which is a really big failure on this movie's part because it hinges a lot on that romance arc. So if that doesn't work, a lot of this is going to fall apart, and it does. It just doesn't work. They're just spewing stuff that a 13 or 14-year-old emo will say to one another. It's like Tumblr love. It's just so bad. It's so cringy. It's not real. It doesn't move you. It doesn't connect you with these characters. All they do is frolic around, taking LSD, and just spouting some of the worst nonsense at each other. Like, if you don't love me enough, you have to love me harder. Oh, I'm more cry now, cry later. Like, what are we doing here? This is so laughably bad. Like, it feels like whoever wrote this has not heard real humans, real adult humans speak to one another. I can completely buy this from a teenager's perspective, but not from a fully grown adult. After this 30 or so minutes ends, we get put into a revenge film, and that doesn't work either. The villain is so boring, so terrible, and once again, because the romance angle isn't working and it's hinging so much on that, when we get into this segment of the movie, I am bored and I do not give a single shit about any of these characters, and I was really just waiting for it to be over. These segments of this film were probably worse because I couldn't even laugh at it as just some terrible example of dialogue. It's just boring sequence after boring sequence. Doesn't work. It doesn't sell me on anything. I don't give a single fuck about anything that happens in this movie after a certain point because it completely withered away at my patience to that point where I just don't care. Now, I'm not going to spoil this movie or anything, but the conclusion is just so whatever. All of these sequences just don't mean anything. They feel forgettable. I'm having a hard time actually recollecting a lot of the things that I saw in this movie because it is so bland and boring that you just will have it erased from your memory so fast. It feels like you've just been hit with that gadget from Men in Black because there's nothing to remember here. And that is such a shame. I guess the only positive thing I could perhaps say about this movie is there's like one, maybe two solid enough action sequences that were kind of brutal and gory, a little bit more interesting, and sells you on that edge that I believe The Crow should have. Other than that, it just feels like it's try hard as hell to capture some emo essence, some punk rocker essence, but it does not succeed on any front at all. It feels like just someone trying their hardest to imitate that and not actually knowing what the real allure of that scene is to a ton of people. And because of that, I think people who are into the emo goth scene are not really going to enjoy this like any other person because there's just nothing to grasp onto here. This thing is so bad. And going back into that romance angle as well, it's trying a lot to be like the Joker and Harley Quinn love angle in Suicide Squad, which was also perhaps one of the cringiest things they've ever seen, but it's even worse, and I don't know how you managed to pull that off, but they did here, so congratulations. Overall, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The Crow is a piece of shit. It's not worthy of your time. I will never, ever rewatch this movie. There is nothing on God's green earth that will make me watch this movie again. It sucks. It's not worth your time. Don't waste your time watching this. It bombed for a reason. There's no one interested in this. And, I mean, the trailer told you everything you needed to know, right? When I first saw these trailers, I knew that this was going to be a pretty bad movie. Hoping to be somewhat surprised going into it, but it just never managed to pull that off at all. Not once, I'm afraid. And because of that, The Crow is going to get a 1 out of 5 from me. This is just incompetent the whole way around. And the quicker that we all forget about this movie, the better. Which will probably be really soon, because there's nothing worth remembering here. And those are my thoughts towards The Crow. Let me know what you think about this movie in the comments below. If you're one of the 5 people that have seen it, I apologize. I feel so bad for you. I feel bad for me for watching it. But hey, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.